Wolverhampton Wanderers 3, West Ham United 2 in the Carabao Cup last night. Let's get into it, guys. But before we do, thanks for joining us. And please don't forget to drop a like on the stream. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. These things are free for you to do. They don't cost you a penny. They help to grow the channel. Okay, so let's go back right to the very beginning. So Graham Potter puts a team out. Now, I was actually on Hammer's chat watching their pre-match, and I nearly had a sort of a moment because they put up on their formation thing that we were playing a 4-4-2, and they actually had Kyle Walker-Peters at centre back and Jean-Claire Todibo at right back, and it was all jumbled around. Gio cleared up very quickly that this was not the formation. It was the personnel, but it wasn't the formation. So I was like, okay, panic over. We didn't make that many changes. We made 4 changes from the starting 11 for the Chelsea game. We dropped out Mads Hermansen. We dropped out, who else was it? Fulkrug. We dropped out Wan-Bissaka. And we dropped out, who was the other player that dropped out? I can't remember. There was 4 players that dropped out. Anyway, whatever. So it was very, very close to what you might consider a full strength 11, whatever that is in your interpretation. But that was certainly what Graham Potter would probably say is close to his current strongest 11, I would suspect. Whereas Vitor Pereira made 8 changes prior to the game. Guido Rodriguez was, again, I think, the one that you really looked at. I certainly did. And I can't get my head around why we're playing a guy who we're hearing is going to be out of the door very shortly. Andy Irving, another individual who's very likely not going to be with us too much longer, sitting there on the bench. Freddie Potts, someone who we've got a lot of high hopes for, and all the rest of it, is sitting there on the bench, sort of, can I get a go? I mean, he came on against Chelsea. I think in the context of the game, the situation that he came on into, I don't think he did a bad job, but again, finds himself on the bench. Okay, fair enough. No problem. We move on. We start the game. It's 2 teams that are bereft of quite a bit of confidence and quality, if we're being completely honest. And then Guido Rodriguez sticks a leg out, and the player went over. As soon as the player went over, I went, that's a penalty. And the referee sort of took a second or two to assess the situation, points to the spot. Hwang Hee-chan steps up, hits the penalty against the post. It comes back out, and the ball was put away into the back of the net. And I did think that the reactions from the players that were on the edge of the penalty box as the ball came back into play, I think it could have been better, but that's probably me nitpicking. Maybe it's a bit unfair on my part. I don't know. But we went in 1-0 down. And then sort of like we managed to turn it around. And I actually thought, big mistake of mine, having turned it from 1-0 down to 2-1 up with goals, both headed goals, one from Thomas Souček from a cross from Kyle Walker-Peters. He swung it in on his left. He sort of stood it up at the back post, and Souček was there to nod it home from a few yards out past Sam Johnston. And then Lucas Paqueta with a diving header to put us 2-1 up again from the right wing. The cross came in and puts us 2-1 up. Now, I mentioned about the cross from the right wing because I will get this off my chest as well, because there was a lot of noise about the guy that we've got as the left wing back, El Hadji Malik Diouf, saying about his left foot and all the rest of it. I can't work out whether it's that we're not utilising him or whether he's maybe not quite the player that a lot of people thought he was in terms of his crossing. There was, I remember one cross that he made in the first half that went straight into the arms of Sam Johnston. And yeah, okay, look, he can only put the crosses in if we're giving him the supply line. But I did think that when he was sort of putting in these crosses in pre-season, I was like, well, it's pre-season, guys. Let's not get too carried away. Let's see if he can do it in the Premier League. And okay, all right, this wasn't a Premier League game, but it was against Premier League opposition. We've had 3 matches now since the season started, and I'm not seeing it. I'm really not seeing it. Maybe he'll come good. Same as any of the signings we made in the summer. You know, Mads Hermansen. I'm hoping that he comes good. Be interesting to see whether he comes back in for the Forest game or whether Potter maybe sticks with Areola. I don't think Areola did an awful lot wrong, but I don't think he overly impressed either. It was sort of a so-so performance for me. Anyway, so we're 2-1 up. 2-1 up, and but you just always felt that Wolves had something that they could conjure up. You know, like I say, we started with a fairly strong 11 in terms of the 11s we've been putting out in the previous couple of games. Like I say, there was only 4 changes from the Chelsea game, whereas Wolves made 8. Wolves then started to utilise their bench effectively. We didn't. We absolutely didn't. I did see, I think it was when we went, just before we went 2-1 up, thereabouts, that Andy Irving was readying himself to come on. He never did. So Potter obviously changed his mind on that. And we just seem to sink back and back and back and just invite them onto us just constantly in that second half. And eventually the pressure told, and Strand Larsen, who I can't believe, I mean, he got 14 goals last season, and it looks like they're going to have to move him on. So the talk was. I'd take him. I really would. Gets the equaliser. Shot from, I think it was Andre, outside the box. Deflection on its way. Areola makes a save, and the ball drops back out to Larsen. He puts it away for 2-2. And then we're still sinking back. And he gets a second goal to put them 3-2 up. And Mavropanos and Rodriguez were in close proximity to them. Neither of them got off the ground. He did. He got his head to the ball, powered it past Areola, 3-2. And that was it. We just got no fight. We've got no determination. I do have to question, because we just kept sinking back, getting deeper and deeper. And I do wonder, is that we're just not fit enough? Is it a fitness thing? It does seem to be a lot of the time that you see teams that are doing that. It's usually a byproduct of a lack of stamina, a lack of endurance. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Just it's a thought that I've got, but my God, we're awful at the moment. We're absolutely awful. We've got a manager that doesn't seem to be able to inspire the players. We've got an aging squad that's not very mobile, and it needs a lot of work in this transfer window. I'm hearing that they're putting in bids for up to 8 players. I'm hearing. I mean, my goodness, this should have happened a long, long time ago. So that's another route to Wembley that's now been cut off, and we're now going to concentrate on the league until the FA Cup comes into focus in January. I don't know where we go from here. The Forest game now becomes huge in its significance, and I do wonder whether maybe they're going to make a change depending upon the result of that one. I've heard a whisper, a rumor that there was conversations between the sort of like the main man at West Ham, Mr. Sullivan, and allegedly Sir Gareth Southgate, the former England manager. I've heard as a voice as a name that's been mentioned that he's had a conversation with. I don't know whether that's true. I don't know whether that's just a bit of a whisper on the grapevine that has no substance to it. I've got no idea one way or the other, but it would make sense in a way. I'm not saying it'd be a move that I would endorse, but being David Sullivan, he's a manager out of work. I think that he would probably go for him, in truth. But we're in a lot of trouble. We're in an awful lot of trouble. We're, what, 4 days away from the transfer window ending? We've got a lot of work that we need to do. We've got a lot of work. Rodriguez, Irving need to go, but they were involved in the squad yesterday. One of them started, and one of them would have come on. Whilst we're leaving youth talent on the bench like Freddie Potts and Callum Marshall didn't get a sniff, what's the point? Really, what is the point? So a lot of changes that need to be come into play. I do wonder whether the manager is one of them. I'm not someone that by default likes to sack managers willy-nilly, but I'm just looking at this guy. I don't think that he's got it. I really don't. I hope he can turn it around. I don't really have an awful lot of faith that he will. I think that he's out of his depth, and I think we're in trouble. I really do think we're in trouble. I know this wasn't a league game. I get that, but I think that this just reinforces what I think we've all known for some time. This is going to be a long, long season, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, give me your thoughts. You've got the comment section below. Another defeat, another game where we've just regressed and regressed during the course of a 90-minute match. Invited pressure on, and that pressure is eventually told. And we can't keep going. We can't keep doing this. Something's got to change. But get your comments in the section below. Drop a like on the stream. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new around here. I'll see you next time. Come on, you Irons.